Welcome to another episode of the Adrienne Ross Show, where sports and culture connect. Flau'Jae Johnson, I imagine you've heard, has decided that she will not enter the WNBA draft, but will instead return to college basketball. I'm glad to hear that. She's a junior, but because of her age, she would have been able to come out of college and enter the WNBA draft. She said no. Now, I assume she's returning to LSU, but you never know. I would never have assumed that Olivia Miles would not return to Notre Dame, but here we are. She's entered the portal. Not surprised that Olivia didn't go to the WNBA right now with all the CBA stuff, but I am surprised she didn't go back to Coach Neil Ivy's team, to the backcourt of herself and Hannah Hidalgo. But she has entered the portal. And let me just say, she could go back to Notre Dame, even though she entered the portal. But I don't know. That seems kind of odd to me. Yeah, I want to get out of here. And then, okay, all right, I'll stay. But who knows, right? We just never know anymore. If you know anything about me, you know I'm not a fan at all of players, of rules changing so that players can leave college early and go into the WNBA. I think there's something to be said for the collegiate experience. I'm not a fan of the transfer portal at all. I think there's something to be said for honoring your commitment. I think it should be extremely rare, extenuating circumstances that a player changes schools. Now, players are changing schools like some folks change underwear. They just hop and hop and hop. I don't want women's college basketball to become like the men in the WNBA who chase titles. Just saying, hey, I committed to this through the highs, through the lows. I'm going to stay here. I mean, listen, we saw in the WNBA, we got Marina Mabrey, who is like, okay, I'm leaving this team and I'm going to Connecticut. And now I'm going to go to over here to, let me see, where else can I go? Because everybody else is leaving. And it's like, no, you ain't going nowhere. You're staying right where you are. There's something to be said for that. Like I said, exceptions to everything, but it has become the rule. It's like, let me just jump in this portal. Well, I don't know what Flau'Jae is going to do. I'm going to guess she's returning to Coach Kim Mulkey, but who knows? If you know me, you also know I'm not a huge fan of NIL. Once again, I think young students should be students. And I think it can get way out of hand. There's that there's that high school student. She's a sophomore. Kalina is her first name. I did a video on her. She was the first to get a high schooler to get an Adidas signing contract. And Candace Parker was a part of that. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. I understand she's a phenomenal player and all that. She's a child. I think we're doing too much too fast. And we just got a whole lot going on. I know everybody says it's just the way the times are, catch up to the times. I get it. But I still say there's something to be said for allowing young folks to be young folks and for them to complete their education since they're there and to give to their teams as much as they possibly can without just saying, okay, let's just try something else. I think, there's something to be said in life for honoring your word and honoring your commitment and not running every time you see another opportunity. As far as NIL, it just does something different to people. You got students making nothing and students making millions of dollars. And I guess some people will say, well, yeah, so what's wrong? What's wrong with that? I'm not going to argue about it. It is what it is. And Flau'Jae, she definitely knows what it is to have these deals and to be doing her thing as far as that goes. And so let's take a look at Boardroom on X and read a little bit about what was written concerning Flau'Jae. It says Flau'Jae Johnson is more than just a star on the court right now. With 6 major March Madness campaigns, including brands like JBL, MassMutual, Experian, Oreo, Powerade, and Samsung, she's proving that college athletes in the NIL era can do more than just hoop. They can dominate on and off the court. From TV screens to TikTok feeds, her presence is unmissable. Flau'Jae isn't just cashing in on on brand deals. She's using her influence to drive real change. In her Powerade commercials, she drops an original track and music video, blending her love for hoops and hip hop. Meanwhile, her Experian campaign is helping erase over $5 million in debt across Louisiana, with an additional $110K wiped clean every time LSU WBKB wins. At just 21 years old, she's setting a new standard for what NIL can mean beyond endorsements. With $9 million net worth and a dominant presence in the March Madness spotlight, Flau'Jae is redefining what it means to be a marketable athlete. Whether it's her commercials running between every game or leading LSU's charge on the floor, she's making her mark. And with her ability to move culture, both on the court and through her brand partnerships, this is only the beginning. And you see some of these brands right here: JBL, Mass Mutual, Powerade, Experian, Oreo, Samsung. Flau'Jae Johnson turned March Madness into a marketing masterclass. Now, obviously, Flau'Jae didn't get as far in March Madness, or over into April, I should say, as she would have liked. But you just saw it. She's got a lot going on in terms of endorsements and NIL. This makes us wonder why it is that she chose to stay in college rather than going into the WNBA. I mean, it could be very simple. Like, we go to college to do our 4 years, and I haven't done my 4 years. Imagine that. I'm fine with staying where I am. Some people would say, well, the reason why people are choosing not to go into the WNBA is because of money, because they, like, what for? They're not making a whole bunch of money. And there's something to be said for that. I know that there are people who say that the men have the one and done. Ladies should be able to have a one and done, and they shouldn't have to be there for 4 years in college, or, until they're 20, 22 years old. Not fair. Well, I don't know. But as I've said before, the percentage of players who do their 4 years, graduate, and enter the WNBA draft, get drafted to a team, and don't make a roster is high. There are plenty of players all over the place who came out after 4 years, went to the WNBA, or so they thought they were going to WNBA, but they never earned a spot. And that percentage is high. So stay there, finish what you started. And if that's the case for people who did 4 years of college basketball, imagine if you started coming out early and then you realize everything with the WNBA is, it's not, you don't fit in. There's no spot for you. The physicality, you know how that is, how they rave about the physicality, maybe that's just not your thing. So I'm fine. Obviously, I'm in favor of just staying where you are. But of course, men, they're going to make lots of money if they leave college and go to the pros. Women, not so at this point. And then, of course, the CBA. So there are people who say, let's stay put where we are, into the transfer portal, whatever, so that they can get this thing worked out. And when I enter in, I'm going to be making a whole lot more money. Well, listen, Flau'Jae, her decision, I don't think, has anything to do with money. You just heard what I read from Boardroom on X. Flau'Jae has all these deals. She's obviously marketable, and she's doing her thing business-wise and making a whole lot of money. She could be one, like Caitlin Clark, could say, I don't need my WNBA salary. Or like an Angel Reese, who said, I don't even know how much I make. How much is it? Oh, man, that wouldn't even pay my rent. So Flau'Jae is not saying, oh, I just want to wait because I can't afford to go into the WNBA right now. That's not it. But she has decided to return to college. She'll still get to play basketball. She'll still get to have her deals, NIL deals, and endorsements, all that. And hey, in addition to her being an asset to any team she's on, including the one she's currently on, LSU, she's extremely likable, right? She just has a certain personality that you have to like. And so doors will open. Well, we found out that sometimes doors open even when you're not likable, and even when you make skits about poking people's eyeballs out. So there's that too. But when you're likable, I think that may open even more doors for you. But this is very interesting how this is going to play out with the WNBA, because it seems to me that there are people who are simply not in a hurry to go pro. And again, some of that is NIL. Right now, CBA, it could be the WNBA in and of itself. But whereas there's like, oh, we just want to get over there, the WNBA. I already said there are people who are saying we should be able to go sooner, but are they lining up at the door? We'll see what happens with the negotiations. We'll see how much money there's to be made. But again, these players who are opting even to go a fifth year in college, players like Olivia Miles, who was expected to go number 2, she's decided I'm not going. And it's just interesting to me. This is a professional league, and more people are fine not getting there, taking their time. Maybe it's all about the CBA. Maybe there's more to it than that. I don't know, but we're going to figure out how this whole thing works. What do you think about all this? Where do you stand on NIL, on some people who say, well, they should be able to come out of college early, which I got a feeling folks are not pushing too heavy for that, at least now, of course, understandably. What do you think about Flau'Jae? Should she continue with Coach Mulkey? Is that a good fit for her? Or do you think there's somewhere else you can envision her adding her talents? And they are. Let's see. She has scored in this season. She scored 18.6 points per game, 5.6 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and 46.8% field goal percentage. Somebody else could use her, but is it good for her to stay where she is in that program? Is there a championship coming for her in this coming year if she stays? If not, where do you see her fitting? And what do you think about all that stuff? NIL, the transfer portal. Tell me where I'm right. Tell me where I'm wrong. I'll catch you next time, God willing. God bless you abundant.